Hi to whoever watches this. This is my first custom. I'm making a 501st Ahsoka Trooper from Star Wars, inspired by the custom done by Centurions Corner. I used some stickers for a template to paint the blue IRA shape of the 501st torso. Rex is there for a colour reference. So after faffing trying to make the right shade of blue, I've finished the first coat for that torso A shape. I'm really intrigued by the design of this clone, mainly because the colours don't quite match, but I think that's the point of it really. It sort of makes the clones look uncomfortable, especially when they're hunting Ahsoka and Rex in that last couple episodes. So I do the shoulders next. I use stickers to stop the paint getting onto the bicep piece because I don't want paint splodges. Unfortunately, using the stickers for a template makes the paint bleed, so it's something I'll have to improve on next time. So here's the first coat for the shoulders. Like I said at the start of the video, I've been inspired by Centurions Corner as well as model Chile scale models. I think they're definitely more seasoned than I am right now. But I've learnt a lot from their customs. For this bit I'm just touching up where the paint has bled in the torso. This is a bit choppy because I'm using a cutter here and I don't want to show it too much on camera. But again, it's just to fix up where the paint has bled. I didn't include this bit in the video because lining up the template took a while, plus I went over it with white paint anyway later on, so it wasn't really worth doing in the first place. I think that's the fun of doing a first time custom. I'm sort of learning throughout and I can improve on my next ones. So here I accidentally pulled the thin sticker off, which trailed paint and made the leg look a bit scruffy. It's not the end of the world because I have white paint and I can go over it later, and I do, and it looks a lot better by the end. You can see here how it's supposed to stay on, and the paint goes over the top of the template. And here it is with both legs finished for now, and it looks fairly accurate. It's starting to come together a bit now, and I'm a bit more confident that I'm not going to ruin my my Figure Arts clone. And there's just me drying my brushes in the corner. So now I'll move on to adding the wrist paint and some behind the scenes coats. Here's my initial design for the helmet. You'd have thought I'd have learned not to use stickers with the mistakes I kept making, and you'll see once it's dried how sometimes freehand can be better when painting with brushes. You can actually see on that model where the sticker's coming up a little bit and paint gets under there. So here's the painted body, looking like an accurate Clone Wars 501st Trooper. And the helmet, which I'm already starting to see the flaws with. If you look at the right side of the helmet, the sticker is actually lifted, which means the paint has gone under and made the template completely redundant. I think I got the colour for the 501st quite accurate. You'll see next to Rex, he matches the helmet, but he's a bit of a darker blue than Rex's body is. You can see how uneven and scruffy the helmet design is because of the template, and how much the the bristles of the brush actually get under the stickers and splodge it a little bit. You can see on that side, there's no square there, and this is so uneven and splodgy. So instead of painting around the template for a second coat, I just decided to paint over it and add the white pattern later once the orange had dried. It looks quite tidy with this full orange head though. I think the bright orange clones we see in Star Wars, the only ones we see, sorry, are the ones from Season 1, the Bomb Squad troopers. I think the change in design really improves the way the figure looks, and I'm glad I decided to change it. I thought I'd get a video while he was shiny because my plan was to scruff him up a bit and make him look like he's been through a few battles. It does look tidy at this point though. For giving chip damage, I've seen people use cocktail sticks and toothpicks, but the closest thing for a student in poverty was a paperclip, so I decided to use that. I'm starting on the shoulders because they have 2 coats of paint. Plus I can get a good idea of how hard to push to lift the paint. And there's my nose for you all. And I'm just doing the other shoulder now. Here's a close-up view. My phone doesn't like to focus. I just had a bit more chip damage for a bit, but I'm careful not to overdo it, especially with the legs. So I think it's looking quite nice at this point. It really feels like it's coming together. Just adding a bit more to the helmet as well. Here's another close-up of the chip damage I've added. He's looking less and less like a shiny. Adding chip damage to the helmet is quite difficult though, because I'm pretty sure it's a different type of plastic. So it's a bit harder to add those scoring marks. But I suppose that would be the less damaged part of the trooper's helmet. The trooper's armour rather. The legs are looking quite nice as well. Again, I think it's just being careful not to add too much. So now I'm using black paint to add some carbon scoring marks. You'll see on the newspaper how I'm supposed to do it, with fast strokes, and what I do when I mess it up in a bit. So there you see the fast strokes I'm doing. Yep, that is a huge black blemish. Luckily I can rub it in with the water for the paint, and I can make it look like a bit of dirt rather than a big black splotch of paint. It is unfortunate though, but it's something that happens when making customs. It'll teach me to be more careful in the future at least. There. One last check to make sure he's looking good, and here he is with scuffs and carbon scoring. He still needs a bit of muck, but it's coming along quite well. I think the dirt will bring out the detail in the belt, as it kind of looks a bit samey with the colours at the minute. I was quite impressed at this point though. So for the dirt I'm using a cotton bud, a tiny bit of black paint and some water. I think it's probably technically a wash rather than dirt, but I'm not sure. Either way it looks like he's been in a fight, especially in space, so it's a bit more wear and tear for the fella. I decided to try the arm first just to make sure I wouldn't ruin the whole figure immediately, and luckily because I'd already dabbed it on the paper it turned out fine. I use a towel too to rub the water off and leave the diluted paint. As you can see it looks quite nice on the torso of the armour. So I've added some wash to the belt and that really brings out the detail. So at this point I'm happy with the figure. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and again special thanks to Centurions Corner for inspiration and advice with paint. Also credit to Model Chili Scale Models for videos on weathering, and here he is with Rex. It's not too bad I don't think for a first try. Definitely interested in trying again. In these times as well, guys, remember,
Tough time never lasts. Only tough people last.